Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel of Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. How you doing, mate? I hope you're doing well. Genuinely, really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series. The daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea from across the world of media and social media, giving you my opinion, more importantly asking for yours. Today, Matt Law has written about Chelsea facing a pivotal Premier League meeting today, I believe. Which, if in theory they backdate a rule of amortization, Chelsea could be in big trouble. Unsurprisingly, rival clubs in the Premier League trying to take each other out. I'm not going to pretend this is a vendetta against Chelsea. I'm sure rival clubs don't like Chelsea coming in and throwing money around one way or another. Liverpool wouldn't have liked it. But then again, Liverpool also bid, £107 million on Caicedo, so they were willing to spend. Point being, it's unsurprising that Premier League clubs are trying to essentially take Chelsea out. There's no real camaraderie here. It's not like La Liga, where Barcelona hate but secretly need Real Madrid, and Real Madrid hate but secretly need Barcelona to create the Clásico and the product of Spanish football. You know, the Premier League's good. Everyone's good. Villa's good now. Brighton's good. Brentford, you know what I mean? There's high-profile, good stories of good football everywhere. And Chelsea are still the bad guys, you know, a Russian oligarch, juiced up club in London who have got these new American owners that want to spend a lot of money and change the way the rules work. You coming down in here into our country, our game, you know, etc. But we know Chelsea is still the only team in London with a European Cup. Heck, we've got two of the Ruddy Blighters. Feel free to cry all you want, ladies and gentlemen, but there could be trouble here. We're going to get into it. Thanks for joining me. Do consider liking and subscribing if you want to support the content. You are, of course, all welcome. So, thanks for that. Starting off with some different sad news. Chelsea has confirmed Reece James has endured a hamstring injury, the official Chelsea website, but minutes ago. Captain Reece James has undergone a medical assessment today following the Sunday's 2-0 defeat to Everton. The defender has withdrawn. He was withdrawn from Goodison Park, and the scan results from today have confirmed he has got a hamstring injury. Terrible news, of course, but I don't know. I think we're all expecting this. There's rumours about him not taking surgeries when he should have had surgeries. If that's true, go and have surgery. I hate it, but it's not our biggest problem at the moment. I know everyone's like, oh yeah, Chelsea are a different team when they got Reece James, so maybe I should be more frustrated and sad about this, but I just don't want to devote the energy. Go and heal your hamstring. Do whatever you need to do for as long as it needs to take, and stop. You know, and this is not on him, this is the club, and stop teasing us with the Reece James reintroduction. I am concerned because he's our captain, and, you know, as John Terry said on social media not so long ago, the captain always needs to be on the pitch. Well, hot dog, I tell you what, Reece James is never on the pitch. Now, another story that's come out is he took the team out to a dinner in London, and then they went out to a club after the Everton loss. Some proper football men might be like, what are you doing going out partying after a performance like that? I haven't got a problem with it. It was pre-planned, and the manager, Pochettino, gave his blessing for it to continue after Reece James decided, you know what, let's still go out. You know, we need to bond here. We look like strangers on the pitch. This could do us some good. Fine, I agree. I've got no issue with them going out and having a bit of fun after a really difficult time. What are they supposed to do? Just go home and be miserable and not talk to each other? That's not going to help anything. So that was a bit of a story, but that's it really. What, young people have a good time and go out for some food? I ain't got no problem with that, you know, so Reece James, look, what I see happening is him just not playing for months, and that's probably how it should be. And Conor Gallagher, but I think actually more notably, and I've spoken about this recently, Ben Chilwell returning and wearing the captain's armband. I think Chilwell has got a touch of the captain about him. I like the cut of his jib, I like how he talks, he's very intelligent. I know he's not proper Chelsea, although he speaks like, you know, he even calls Chelsea Chelsea. And he loves integrating into Chelsea. He won't have the same DNA as Reece James. He's not as good as a footballer as Reece James. But in terms of being like a bit more of a grown-up, he's a bit older than Reece, of course, as well. I think he's a good candidate to sort of represent captain for a while in the absence, and let's be real here, what will be an absence from Reece James. You know, Conor Gallagher can run around all he wants in the captain's armband, and Levi Colwill, of course, got given it, but he's way too young still. And Pochettino seems to love to give, you know, you've got Thiago Silva there, but he wants to give it to Cobham graduates. James, Gallagher, Colwill. But lest we forget, Ben Chilwell is the official vice club captain. So I think maybe him coming back on that left-hand side would be important. I think he's going to be back in a few weeks. And yeah, I know, I don't know how much, you know, weight people put on the idea of a captain, but I think it can be helpful. And yeah, I look forward to Ben Chilwell's return. Let me know what you think about the captain situation. Reece James commenting down below, and let's talk about this big story. Matt Law writes, Chelsea face pivotal Premier League meeting which threatens the club transfer policy. Yeah, so Chelsea face a pivotal meeting of the Premier League shareholders today, at time of recording, Tuesday, that threatens to further undermine the transfer strategy of the club's Todd Boehly Clearlake Capital owners. Before we get into this, I heard someone else say on a football podcast, forgive me, I forget the podcast and the person, which is really lame, but they referenced the Chelsea long contract and amortization. And I said this, and shout out to Will Rayner, who did an opinion piece for Cy Phillips. He says he thinks Chelsea are preparing for a transfer ban. I think this isn't just a transfer strategy. I think they knew something was rotten in Denmark, to use that phrase, when they bought Chelsea. They self-reported to the Premier League, the FA, the UEFA, all these issues, right? Because they knew that something could catch up with them. They put £100 million aside for just this, and I think their transfer strategy, not holistically and entirely, but I reckon there's an element of Chelsea trying to prepare themselves, or these owners preparing themselves for potential eventualities. And this pundit sort of says, look, you know, Chelsea are doing these long contracts for potentially preparation for God knows what's coming to them. And I thought, these speculation opinion pieces about this, maybe there's something in that. I'm guessing, I'm speculating, I'm regurgitating what I've already heard here, so don't shoot the messenger, the speculator. But yeah, man, that's wild, if true. So maybe they're not just trying to be innovative in breaking the game, maybe they're just trying to protect themselves. Clubs have put contract amortization rules on the agenda for this meeting and want the Premier League to fall in line with UEFA and cap the domestic amortization at 5 years. It's understood that some clubs even feel such a move, if voted through, should be backdated to the summer, but it's unclear whether or not that could happen. Backdating a cap on the Premier League amortization would be a disaster for Chelsea, who spent more than £400 million in the summer. Of course, we're handing out 8-year contracts. I think with the 1-year extension, Enzo Fernandez had a 9.5-year contract, which is essentially a decade. You guys know how amortization works. He explains it here, but I'll try and explain it more. Of course, Roman Abramovich spent loads of money on transfers, loads of money on wages and shorter contracts, which is really not very intelligent financially. It doesn't have to be. So say you buy a £100 million player, just for the sake of it, you put them on a 10-year deal, like Enzo, you amortize at £100 million over the length of the contract. So financially on the books, it's £10 million a year, whereas a £60 million player on a 5-year deal, which is really common, actually ends up being more a year. It's like, 11, 12 million a year. So you can spend over the odds on players and building these teams. And, provided you've got the money to spend, which Chelsea evidently do, you're just much more safe in the finances. By the way, like Simon Jordan on TalkSport says, and I know he rubs shoulders with Boehly and Qatar or whatever, but this is up to Chelsea. This isn't without risk. They haven't just found a cheat code that no one else is doing. It comes with risks. You're betting your future on these players. it's not like, they're not like breaking rules as it stands, and it's not like they're really cheating and getting ahead. They just decided to take a risk. So Simon Jordan was very animated and theatrical. Like, why is everyone getting their knickers in a twist against this, mate? Like, you're just let them do it. If they want to bet that, then it's up to them. Anyone else can do it. They've chosen not to. So why are you getting wound up that Chelsea have made a decision? Oh, that's a bit different. That's a bit radical. We don't all do that usually. Let's attack. Do you know what I mean? It makes no sense. So UEFA closed this loophole during the summer. Chelsea, of course, all their January transfers still were amortised for the 8 years, but then UEFA closed it for the summer. But they were like, fine, because the Premier Leagues were probably a lot more of the... Well, we're not in Europe at the moment, so we're not even having to abide to these UEFA rules. So the Premier League's the big one. Meaning the clubs can only amortise contracts up to five years to comply with the European financial fair play rules. And UEFA, this was not backdated. So far, Chelsea seemingly got a good relationship with UEFA. We told them about the financial irregularities. They fined us 8 million and says, don't worry about it, done. They didn't like the amortisation. They said, right, we'll cap it at 5 years, but we're not going to backdate it. You can still have your players. So far, UEFA being pretty good with us. And by the way, like, I don't have a problem with the 5-year cap. If I didn't support Chelsea... and I was just looking at football externally, holistically, I'd go, 5 years, about right. Do you know what I mean? I've got no issue with it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if people choose to amortise for ages. And of course, there's that big story on a minor tangent that Todd Bowley's Dodgers, they've just signed a baseball player on they've done some rule bending, I believe. It's like a $700 million contract. Which I don't understand American sports and baseball, but that is absolutely insane. And apparently he only gets paid £2 million a year for essentially the duration of his contract. But at the end, he gets one whole payment of like 600 and something million. I don't really understand it, but the point being, they're paying him a ridiculous amount of money, and to bend the rules, they give him the payment at the end of the contract. And understandably, everyone, I don't understand American sports, I don't understand baseball, but looking at the comments on social media in reaction to that move, everyone's like laughing like, oh my God, this is cheating. You know, the Dodgers are cheating. Todd Bowley essentially is cheating. But if you find a way to bend the rules, you just do it, don't you? Because you say, right, what are the rules? Okay, so how can we get around them? That's what everyone does. That's what everyone does. Like, I know I'm going off on a tangent here again, but like friggin' Ange Postecoglou, after that game when he talked about referees and he says, look, do you want to know what we managers do? All of us, me included, we try and find a way to bend the rules. It's just like, yeah, this is what people do. Clubs, managers, business owners, individuals, friggin' people that just try to find cheaper ways to park or use certain tickets. This is just what people do. You try and find a way to get ahead. And of course, the more money that is involved with that, the more unsavory it becomes, or the more like blockbuster. But you know, it is what it is, bro. Like it's you know, of course you're gonna do that. People will call it innovation. You know, and then like you know, but that whole like 700 million contract for that baseball player, I don't understand. It sounds freaking mental. But we move. Clubs are currently able to amortise contracts over any length they wish to meet the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, and Chelsea have continued to hand out these long deals. British record signing Moises Caicedo, of course, 115 million quid. He's on an 8-year deal, and then clubs want UEFA to follow. Premier League clubs want UEFA to follow and cap and amortise at 5 years. That's not really surprising me, I don't think. Because they probably don't like how Chelsea are inflating the market, because Chelsea can just inflate the market because they're amortising, you know, whether it's Caicedo for 115. They're probably thinking more internally to the Premier League, so not so much Enzo. Enzo won the World Cup, he was doing well in the Champions League, Real Madrid wanted him, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But like, certainly Caicedo, 115 million, and Lavia getting, you know, up to like 60 million pounds, like this kind of like, oh, well, we can pay it, because we're going to amortise it, and therefore we're inflating the market for our peers, our colleagues within the space. You know, club owners are only permitted to, under profit and sustainability rules, to lose 105 million pounds over 3 years, which was extended for the pandemic, of course. That could lead to a tense meeting of shareholders today, with Chelsea potentially feeling they're being unfairly singled out, particularly with the wish in some quarters to backdate any new ruling. Now, that is freaking mental, because that is not just, oh, look, we don't think that should be a rule in the Premier League. That is, we're going to take down Chelsea. I mean, it is. You know, they act like there's this camaraderie in these meetings. I know the Big Six, since the Super League, lost favour with all the other clubs. Like, what's his mate? Matey, the chairman of Palace, always talks about Europe, clubs in Europe. Mate, Palace are never in Europe. Forgotten his name. He does speak quite well, though. Yeah, so they probably lost a lot of love for the Big Six, who tried to rip away from the Premier League and the football pyramid and all that kind of stuff. So there's no love lost. If they can take out Chelsea, they're going to do it. And I think this is what's happening, or potentially. It's not clear whether or not clubs will vote on the subject today. And it would need to be the 14 clubs in favour, of course, but it will be 14 clubs in favour because no one else is doing it. No one else is doing it. They recently did that a vote where you can loan out to your satellite clubs with the multi-club model. Like Sheffield United voted with it. Brighton, of course, got multi-club models. These level of clubs have got multi-clubs. Because the Premier League's so freaking rich, you can be 20th of Premier League and you could still be this financial behemoth that has multiple clubs around Europe. Just how it works, dude. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't a surprise that, and Man United will become a multi-club model. They make so much money now they don't need to. Other clubs will. I know Man City, Chelsea, I think maybe Arsenal have got another club. I like the big, examples of multi-club models at the top, but other clubs will just do it. So it's not surprising that no one voted it, that didn't come in, that ban. I think Burnley will have a multi-club model as well and want to be part of that. So, but amortization, no one else is doing it. And I wonder, who else is thinking of doing it? I doubt anyone is thinking of doing it. Do you know what I mean? So I reckon if it did come in a vote, they would go, 5-year ban. Chelsea were last month, of course, the clubs who voted against this loan thing as well, which we just spoken about there. Look, man, what's going to happen here? If I just assumed the 5-year cap was coming into the Premier League as well anyway. So if it comes in, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So that's totally fine. But to backdate it to the summer where Chelsea spent 400 million on these long amortized contracts, that would level Chelsea. That would be, especially the fact how we're doing badly at the moment and look like we won't qualify for Europe. That would be serious trouble. And does it surprise you that other Premier League clubs are trying to take out Chelsea? Look at Chelsea from another club's perspective. Yes, we've been a part of the furniture and, we've won the European Cup twice in the space of a decade as well, 9 years, which is quite a lot. To win 2 Champions Leagues within 9 years, you're a pretty big club, do you know what I mean? A couple of Europa League titles, some of the greatest players played at Chelsea. We're an important part of the footballing culture now, the blue colour of London and the this big, amazing real estate in southwest London with, like I say, European prestige now. That is an important part of the football culture. But ultimately, we're not like a Real Madrid, Barcelona. We're just another one of the bad guys who are spending a lot of money. So if they can take us down, they will. Or certainly try to. Anyway, let me know what you think. Comment down below. I'll be very interested in learning your thoughts, feelings, opinions, musings, and everything else down in the comment section. Wild times though with Chelsea as per usual. Do support the content by liking and subscribing. I'm out, man. Take care. Peace.